It is time to assemble our Santa Claus. So we've made the head, we've made our body, and I'm going to show you how to assemble the doll joint version just because the sewn-in version is the same except for we have these additional arms to attach, so there's really no point in showing you both. So let's see here. We're going to get our doll joints that are required for this hoop size, and you will have this information in your tutorial. There will be a chart that shows what size doll joints you're going to need. So doll joints come in 3 parts, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut a hole in the center of each support circle. Alright, so I had to stop the video and take pictures for the PDF tutorial. So one of the arms has already been done. So we'll just come over here and just go ahead and cut a slit in each circle. You can use a seam ripper or you can use scissors. Okay, there's the head. I'm going to actually go ahead and do this too. And the back of the head. Okay. So try to keep your arms on the correct side of the body so you don't get them confused. You don't want to accidentally put your arms on backwards. So you're going to take the post part of the doll joint and you are going to put it inside the arm so it protrudes from that hole. Very easy. Okay, so now we have both arms with the doll joints protruding. Now we're just going to push the doll joint into the body. Now I will say this, I do recommend going ahead and stuffing your arms and sewing them shut before you do this step. It just makes it easier because you can hold the arm, you can get it stuffed properly, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to show you a trick. When you have thumbs like this, what you can do is you can take a small piece of feel and ball it up. Maybe too big. So you want to ball it up, and then you want to use hemostats to place the stuffing into the thumb, just like that. When you finish, put a straight pin through the thumb, and that will hold the stuffing there as you finish stuffing the arm, and it won't come out. let's go ahead and ladder stitch the arm shut. You just want to use a matching thread. And tie a knot in the tails. So now your thread is doubled. So the way I do this is I reach inside whatever I'm stitching and I pull this fabric tab out on one side. And then I enter the fabric from the back and I take a tiny stitch about that, I don't know if you can see that, just on the inside, and I put the needle in this way and it comes out below. And then pull your thread, and right before it gets to the knot, put the needle through or between your two layers of thread. And that will lock the thread in, and see your tails will be inside the arm. After I do that, from the back side, the wrong side, I put the needle right where the knot that I made is, and I push it back to the outside. And that will make it stay secure. And now I'm just going to fix my little tabs here to form like a little mouth. And now we're going to stitch back and forth from side to side. And the smaller stitches you take, especially when you are dealing with jersey fabrics, the nicer it's going to look. So if you struggle having a ladder stitch that looks nice, perhaps your stitches are too big. So they really should just be a few millimeters. And it doesn't take very long to do this. Now you can go ahead and pull, and you'll see why it's called a ladder stitch, because we're going back and forth, and then when we pull, it cinches it shut. At this time, I might decide if I want to add a little bit more polyfill back behind this stitching. So, just like that. So to end the ladder stitch, you've already stitched the entire opening shut. So you're going to come below the opening and you're going to take one more stitch and you're going to make sure that it comes out right on the seam. Then you're going to go side to side and try to take the smallest stitch but catch enough fabric. So I don't know if you can see this, how much fabric I have. You're going to take a stitch right beside where you came out. And this is going to form a loop. And then you're just going to wrap your needle 2 times around the thread, and that's going to form a knot, a slip knot, and then you're just going to pull it until it goes all the way to the fabric, And now we're going to hide the tail. We're going to push the needle right beside that knot and push it through. Okay. Give it a good tug and try to sink the knot into the fabric, and then snip. And the tails will go inside. Now we can knot this and do the other arm. Now we just need to making sure our arms are on the correct side. So doll joint up, arms curved out. We're just going to push the doll joint into the body. So I just wanted to say, I use this super stretchy cable knit fabric. I believe I got it from online, like on Etsy. It's very stretchy both ways, and it doesn't match the direction or the amount of stretch of Minky. And it's also very thin. So if you wanted to use something like this, you can see the holes. So when you stuffed it, you would be able to see the stuffing, and possibly the stuffing could come out. So you can still use something like this, like especially on swaddle babies or the snuggle babies with the sleeper. And what you want to do is you want to use something that does have the same direction of stretch and the amount of stretch of Minky under it as a liner. So this is actually Minky, but it's a very thin Minky that I got from Etsy. It's not super good quality, but it works very well for a liner for something like this. So I can still use creative fabrics, but we always want to line it with something that is going to stretch the same amount as our main fabric that we're using, like this Minky. And the reason for that is if I didn't and I stuffed this, his upper body would be much wider and taller than it should be, and it would be out of proportion and look really strange. He would have like a muffin top. So you should, if you want to use fabrics like this, that's okay. Just remember to try to line it with something. So this works really well. I'll try to find the link to the seller that sold this. I know it was cheaper than Minky, but it's very thin. Very thin. Like I wouldn't want to use this on its own in a project because it's so thin, but it would be perfect for lining these super stretchy sweater knits like this. So we're just gonna push the doll joint inside, and then we're gonna take the flat washer. It's totally flat. It has a beveled side and a sharper side, and you wanna put the bevel side down onto the post. Then you wanna take the locking disc. It looks like a raised circle with slits cut in the top. This is the locking disc, and you want to put it onto the post and snap it one time. Make sure again your arm is on the right side before you snap it all the way down, and then it just very easily, even though I've stuffed this arm already, I can feel the doll joint and I'm able to snap it all the way just like that. Something I do sometimes, not all the time, if I don't want this post to be felt inside the doll, you can cut it off with just a pair of wire cutters. You do not want to cut all the way to the base, but you can cut a few of the teeth off. So you just squeeze and it just comes right off. So that's how much I cut off. It's not too sharp. If it is, you can use the wire snips to smooth it out again. But it's not too bad. All right, let's attach the other arm. Okay, now it's time to attach the head. We've already cut our circles. Now, if you wanted to, you could use our free flop stopper. It's on our website, and it creates a tube that the doll joint is going to go inside of, this piece, and then it would protrude from the hole. So let's put the doll joint into the body. And the reason why I do this is because the reason why I put the post piece coming from the neck is because you do have these arms up here and the doll joints are close together. So if this post was inside, they would be bumping against each other. So I like to flip it for the head like that. Okay. So we already have our doll joint in the torso. Now this is the optional collar for Santa's shirt. It's gonna go on like that. I'm gonna go ahead and stitch this shut with a ladder stitch really quick. You could use a whip stitch or anything you want. make sure you have cut a circle. It should go through the back side. It's okay, you're not just cutting a hole in this circle, you're cutting it through all the way to the back side, like so, because it's going to go onto the doll joint. So just slide it on, and it should look like this. Now we can attach Santa's head. So it doesn't really matter which way you do this, you don't have to have it oriented correctly. But just put Santa's head on like so. I think I have, yeah, some paper. By the way, I also lined Santa's head with a piece of this. You could use this minky like I was talking about earlier, but someone sent me a sample of a knit fabric that goes with this doll jersey. Ah, here it is. So it's a very thin. The only problem is I'm not sure if I like it because it stretches way more than the doll jersey. Way more. So I think that might not be a good thing, but you could use the minky as well, as long as the stretch is the same as the doll jersey. So there's our doll joint. Now we're just gonna put, this is a 45 millimeter, so I'm gonna go in here, put that on to the post. You can see that. Then we're gonna put the locking disc. This locking disc is a little different. It's flat. Put it on to the post. And then we're just going to push and snap it together, and it's really easy. No hot water or tools needed. So just snap Santa's head all the way as far as you can. Yeah, that's all the way. And now Santa's head is attached. I was going to say these doll joints, or I'm sorry, these safety eyes that I got off of Amazon come with these terrible washers. Like, me and my husband both tried to get these on to attach Santa's nose, and we could not do it. So the only thing that we could get to work was our doll joints that we had made, and I just used the 30 millimeter washer. You could use the 30 or 35, I think, and it just snaps right on. And the reason why is because it has that star shape. So you can see the difference here. Like, this is absolutely horrible. I have updated our Amazon supplies list. I did find some safety eyes that have something similar to this with the cross sections. So you can still get all those sizes and still get all the sizes that you need to make your Santa nose, but then have a better way of attaching the nose. So I'll put those on our Amazon supply list. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. So now it's time to stuff Santa, but we are not going to stuff him all the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to stuff his feet first. And then we are going to ladder stitch these leaf shapes before we continue stuffing him. Partially stuffed the feet, we are going to do a ladder stitch across these leaf shapes. So you're just going to thread your needle, double your thread, tie a knot in your thread, and you'll have some tails. Make the tails, I don't know, about an inch, something that will fit inside this leaf shape. So what we want to do is we want to come over here and we are going to take a stitch on the center within the leaf shape. So we're going to take a small stitch on the inside. Then we are going to catch those tails. And I'm just going to hold the tails towards the inside of the shape. And now we just want to take our needle and go the other way and come out at the top, right at the peak of the leaf shape. Now we're just going to go back and forth on the outside of the leaf shape. On the other side, and then I'm going to pull my thread really tight, but we don't want to break it. This is just embroidery machine thread, which is actually pretty strong. So now you can see what's going on here. After you get that, you just want to do a knot. So we're going to take a stitch and go twice through the loop. And obviously you would want to use thread that matches your fabric. I'm just doing this so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. Now I got my knot, and now I'm just going to push the needle right beside that knot and then just exit it somewhere. I'm just going to pull slightly and snip, and the threads will go inside. So there's one side done and one side not. Just like such a huge difference in the realism. And you'll see this more as we continue to stuff Santa Claus. How much better that is going to look just by doing that little stitch here, kind of sculpting that foot in the way it should be. finish stuffing Santa's body now that we have his feet done. Okay, now we are getting close to being done with his body. I'm going to go ahead and start stuffing his head. Remember to shape the head, not just stuff it. The goal is to get a round head, so don't just put polyfill in and allow it to be floppy. We really need to fill out the head very well. Taking a moment to look at the shape of Santa's head. And just remember, when we pull this shut to stitch it shut, it's going to pull the head down. So just make sure you have your stuffing evenly distributed. Now that I'm stuffing the head, now I might decide to add more polyfill to the body. So I've got my Santa head about where I want it, and I'm going to go ahead and ladder stitch the back of the head closed before I do the body. Okay, so now we are just going to make sure that we like the shape of our head. Before we can even take some stuffing out of the top of the body. And that will allow us to just further shape Santa's head, get it into that ball shape. If you try to do that with the body fully stuffed, you won't be able to get the shape of the head just right. So if you need to, that's why we save the body for last. So you want to make sure you can still access, you know, the bottom of the head to shape Santa properly. It makes a huge difference. You can see his head was taller before, so we're just gently shaping it. And now that looks so much better. Now we can finish stuffing the body, or re-stuffing it. And try not to put your hand around Santa's neck because that's going to push the stuffing back out. So try to grab him under the arms and just let the head dangle. That's the way I do it anyway. And now I can stitch the back of the body shut. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do to my Santa is I'm going to sew 2 wooden buttons on to secure the straps since I skipped doing the cam snaps. You can also use ribbon. Okay. Just make a little belt. So another thing that we can do is we can blush Santa's nose, and what I have here is something called Pan Pastels. It's an artist pastel that's highly pigmented, and once you put it on, it's not going to come off. This color is called Pearlescent Red. It's my favorite color. I use it to blush all the cheeks on my creations, and so what we can do is we can blush Santa's nose. So what you want to do is get a little bit, because it's highly pigmented, take your scrap of fabric and tap it on, okay, and then just lightly apply to the top of Santa's nose.